I don't know much about yaks, but a friend of mine, Vance Hawk, who's also one of my kids' wrestling coaches, him and his folks run a yak ranch out here, sell meat and all kinds of things. It's going to be a lot of fun to figure out what they all do. Hey Vance.
How's it going?
Good.
Good to see you.
You too. We're gonna see some yaks today?
Yeah, we'll take you out on the ranch and show you around. Hopefully we'll see some yaks.
I can't wait to do it. Let's get it on.
Cool. Sounds good. So we got kind of, you can see the edge of the property, that far ridge over there on the other side of the hill. That's kind of down in the valley is kind of the edge of the property. Right here we got 40 acres of hay. Okay. And then I'll take you by, we've got another 20-acre field a little further on down here. But like what we've been riding on are all old logging trails. Sure. So back in the 80s, the owners, or I don't know if they leased it or if they logged it themselves, but it's made some great infrastructure for us on the ranch. We can get pretty much anywhere. Like with the yaks, we have to pretty much use four-wheelers because they'll hook horses, so we can't hurt them with horses, so we got to have trails to take the ATVs on. My parents have horses up here right now because we have the property sectioned off. Got about 20 up here that they drink out of there.
So I'm assuming there's no electricity, so this runs off propane? Is that?
Yeah, yeah, that keeps it thawed in the winter.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. You get quite a view.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, you can definitely see Gillette.
You can see forever.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Saddle up.
That is a 2,000-acre parcel that this all used to be one contiguous ranch, so it was 4,000 acres. I think it was the Ghost family that owned it before, and my parents bought their parcel off of one of the Ghostes. So really another nice property. All right. Old tree stand from some rancher who had this back in the day. It's kind of one of the nice little sites.
Oh yeah. Have you been up in it?
I haven't actually. Okay, this is the first time, so if I don't make it.
What could go wrong? This looks like a really bad idea.
I'm insured. Yeehaw. It's way easier getting on than off. Yep, still coming out. So this is a year-round spring.
Year-round it flows. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean it'll freeze up in the winter, but like if it thaws or anything, it'll keep flowing. We didn't build it; it's been here. It was here when my parents bought the place.
Cool.
But there's a trail cam over there, and see an elk, and then a mountain lion crouching right there, taking his little sip.
So it's just come right up underneath this?
I don't know where it's coming from. I think it must just originate, because I don't know where the pipe runs from. I haven't wanted to mess with it and mess it up.
Exactly.
So, yeah, this is the biggest spring we have. I think there's one other somewhere else on the property, but it doesn't make near as much water as this does.
Yeah.
So here's the old set of corrals from the old homestead, the one that you see driving up the driveway. I think it was the same kind of complex. Windmill, it does not actually pump water right now.
Dang it.
So obviously there's enough wind, but Dad decided, because one year they didn't get any wind in like 3 months, so he wanted to try solar. And he got solar hooked up, but the well's not deep enough anymore to pull up water. So
Dang it.
for whatever reason, they set up the corrals here.
I want to look at them. I love this.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Little squeeze pen,
Yep.
and down the alley we go. And an old squeeze chute.
You think it holds some yaks?
Bet without a whole lot of work it would.
Yeah.
Little throws up. Just gotta hook the chains back up. We'd be in business.
Yep. All right, well, we'll just head out, go over that hill, and then we'll head up the driveway and call it.
Don't fall off. That's new?
That wasn't like that like 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever the last rainstorm was.
Couple thousand acres, couple hundred yaks, not your traditional thing. Tell us a little bit more about the place here.
Yeah, so the yaks are really from Tibet. They normally live at 12,000 feet on the Tibetan plateau.
Wow.
They're a very agile animal. I've had them jump my cattle guards like they weren't even there, but they do stay together as a herd. Cows will weigh about 600 pounds. Calves are about 35 pounds at birth. And the bulls we had bulls 1,500 to 2,000 pounds on there. They take a lot longer to get to maturity. So if we have a calf at 35 pounds, he will be at the same maturity level of a beef cow in 3 years. So a 1 year beef cow, 3 years yak, but they eat 1/3 of what a cow does. So if I'm feeding hay in the winter, I'm at a 1/3 of what you'd feed for the same amount of cattle.
It's super lean. It's about 97% fat-free most of the, like on an average cut. So, you know, some cuts may be a little more fatty, some may be a little more lean, but on average, 97% fat-free. It's higher in omega-3s than beef, and it's definitely higher in iron because they have about 3 times the red blood cells that cattle does. So it's going to be more bloody than you would get from a cow just by nature of that. If I had to compare it to something, I would say it's probably most similar to buffalo. It's just because it's super lean and it's a really dark red meat. I recommend everybody at least try it once. Don't think, I hear everybody says yak makes them want to yak, and then they try it and then, as my dad said, once you go yak, you never go back.
Yak are very lean, 3% body fat by weight, but they have more red blood cells because of coming from the Tibetan plateau. So they're more moist, but it's not gamey. It's more of a, what people tell us is more of a sweet, mellow taste.
Well, I'm just really excited. I want to go see some of these things. I don't know much about them. I've seen them from a distance here and there, but I want to go see some yaks.
The road here, nothing was here when we bought the property. So we had to put this road in 1.4 miles, and we're completely off grid. We have no hard power. Some of the old timers I talked to when we first got here said that, you know,
Yeah.
you could get 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 foot of snowdrift in a storm. And so that's why I hit the road every time it snows to get the road plowed off.
Yep.
You know, we fenced this off really well down here, but we still have to work on the perimeter fence up there and maybe some cross fencing before.
So then you'll hopefully be able to rotate them a little bit.
The only challenge with them is they can get wild, so if we put them back up there and they get 1,700 acres to run around on, I might have a real hard time ever getting them into a corral again. And even with a bunch of good dogs and horses, they're so agile and so fast once they get back in that timber, it's hard to really get them out. Very seldom do you see them scattered. I mean, they're kind of up and a little bit in the trees, but they kind of stay together.
Man, this is exciting. My first encounters with up close with a yak.
When we started in it, the yak hair was worth $16 an ounce.
Oh my.
And so you could, and that was 2005, so you can take it off and send it to people that would clean it and spin it.
So you shear them then, or
No,
what?
you don't shear them, you comb it off or collect it, because you'll see like the one over there has got
Starting to
chunks.
bunch out?
Yeah.
Like, do you actually get them in a chute and comb them out and really try to collect hair at a certain time of year?
Well, we tried twice this spring where we took them through, all of them, and combed out, and Keely, Vance's wife, was capturing it all and putting it into trash cans. And so she's gonna work with that, but yeah, we were just combing it out as they came through. We just squeeze them in there and drop the sides down and start combing the hair out of them down there. And they were losing a lot of it at that time. So their horns, what their horns do is their horns come out, they turn up, and when you start seeing them turn horizontally back, then
like
that's
this.
getting older. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that
So
one's an
that's an
old
older
one.
cow
That's
there.
an older cow right there. I can pull up a little bit, and then I'll let Sage out, and I'll go out there with them, and I'll kind of do false charges at them, and then I'll stand back for a little bit, because they'll come to get her. And I'll, you know, just wait until they get close, and I'll see if I can get her to go chase them out there. But you'll see that she's very cautious. She's smart. If you were a cattle dog and you were used to cattle and you charged these guys, you'd probably end up
Probably
on
gonna
their
get hurt.
horns. Yeah. Yeah, they don't hesitate. They're an offensive animal.
That's interesting.
Sage, get him. Get him. Get him. What we'll do is I'll get the boys to go put some hay. We kind of
Sure.
lay little pieces of hay out to get them to come in.
Yep.
And then same thing when we get in the corrals down there. When we fence this lower area, we fence trees in there for them, and they'll go lay out in the sun when it's 90, 95, which I never have figured out because they have 2 layers of hair.
All right, so we're gonna bring the yak
Yes,
into this kind of pasture, down a big alleyway, into this alleyway,
correct.
and then what are we doing here?
So they'll kind of sort themselves out. There's 6 pins here, 2 big ones, 4 medium-sized ones. They'll go in and out, and we'll just shut gates as we see, like this one, when it looks like it's got too many or just enough, we'll shut the gate. So we've got them all separated. Then we'll decide which one of the pins we want to open first, and we'll try to bring out 4 to 6 yaks into this alleyway, and then we'll work them back down to the other end of the alleyway, take them through the squeeze chute, give them their medicine, and send them on back out into the field. And then we have those paddles with the beads in them, and you can kind of herd them down into here. And you know, we've had them where they jump over these rails or try to, and you're hitting them with the paddle, moving them back in. So we definitely need that. And then a shock stick, they'll get in here sometime, and they won't go through the squeeze chute. So we have to shock them, you know, to get them to go through the squeeze chute. See that little bend in that top rail? There wasn't a tank there or anything. I had a steer in here, and he jumped over that. I had another one that was in this pin, and he never even bent the bar. He went right over the top. So we've had them come over the tops here, when even in these alleyways where we've had to hit them back in.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, let's do it.
We'll we'll just kind of work them down and we'll bring them into that field, and we come through that gate over there. We've got the hay, which you saw set up. We get them into this main field here, then we work them around and get them over into this, and we'll pull these corrals panels back around to lock them in there.
Pull the green gates around? Okay, sure.
And then we have them in the alleyway, and they'll come, once they get in the alleyway, if a female or even a bull or steer gets in the alleyway and heads down the other end, the rest of them will follow.
Sure.
There we go. 120 trying to get me again.
It's fun to see generations working together, and you and Vance, you know, we worked a bunch of those animals today. It worked pretty good. I didn't even hear a crossword back there, so that's pretty awesome. One of the cool things that we like to talk about on Homegrown is just this family legacy of ranching. And you know, yeah, you guys haven't been on this place for generations, but yet you've started this ranch, you've grown your herd, and now you've got your son and his family coming back and helping with that. That's got to be fairly gratifying for you.
It is. When Vance left to go to college, which was the Air Force Academy, we talked about that as he, you know, once he finished his commitment, the next step would be coming into ranching with us on the Yaks. So we kept that in mind from the very beginning. Is at the point that he got married and had children, we would be passing the ranching down to them. So we've really been blessed to be able to be here and use this area, you know, which is what we were looking for when we left Colorado.
I do kind of day-to-day stuff on the ranch, like whatever chores need to be done, stuff like that. But I've really been focusing on trying to get the meat marketed.
So what's your favorite yak cut?
I mean, tenderloin, of course.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like tenderloin?
Amen.
And it comes out like butter sometimes.
Sounds stomach's growling a little bit, I think, just thinking about it. So you guys are kind of getting into that, selling some of the meat.
Yep.
Can people find you guys? Can they purchase that?
Yep, they can. So we have an online store. It's called HKYakRanch.com. Spelled HK and then YAKRanch.com. So right now we offer a 3-pound box and a 10-pound box. And then we also offer ground. So people can buy ground whenever they want. We took down those individual cuts just because it wasn't working well with our business model. I'm not saying we won't bring them back, but like most of the people we're buying are buying on the East Coast.
Carl, you started this yak crazy thing here quite a few years ago. What made you do that? What was your thought process at that time?
So we were in southwest Colorado in a town called Ridgway, and we had 8 acres, And we looked around and thought, well, we need to put some animals out here to keep the grass and everything mowed down. So we thought about elk, ostrich, and then my wife Dana brought me an article out of the Montrose newspaper of a gentleman in Montrose that was raising yaks. And so I read it, and at that time there was 2,500 yaks in North America, and none can be brought in. Nothing can be brought in through the Department of Agriculture. They've put a freeze on that. So with 2,500 in North America, 11 million in Tibet, we figured that the markets would stay stable and it would give us something that would keep our pastures mowed down. Well, as we got farther into it and started progressing to raise the animals, the herd started expanding. So once we got to 100, we looked around and said we need a lot more pasture, and that's one of our reasons for looking up north to find something in Wyoming that would fit the needs for really the Yak Ranch.
Best place in the world with the best people in the world right here in agriculture in western South Dakota and eastern Wyoming, in my opinion.
Absolutely, we really enjoy it. It's a perfect location for us.